Article 1 would authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire the property at 4 Piper Lane, 6 Piper Lane, 4 Piper Lane rear, and a right-of-way over a portion of 90 School Street. These parcels total a bit over 6 acres in size. The funding amount requested is $1,200,000. The land is being purchased for open space, passive recreation, and conservation purposes. A 2/3 vote is required to pass this article. The Great Hill and Conservation and Recreation Area is one of the first land acquisitions for open space purposes made by the town of Acton, with its 192-acre area being purchased in 1971 and 1975, using primarily state and federal funds. In 2008, town meeting approved the purchase of an additional 5.2 acres of land at 8 Piper Lane, often referred to as the Gable land. The parcels under consideration tonight are contiguous with the larger Great Hill area and the more recent purchase at 8 Piper Lane. These parcels were identified as priorities in the 1998 Open Space and Recreation Plan, and the Open Space Committee had attempted to negotiate a purchase of these parcels over the years. Over the last 2 years, these parcels were under consideration for development for multi-unit housing, and that proposal was highly controversial and opposed by many, including the Board of Selectmen, the neighborhood, and the larger community. This purchase comes about as a result of protracted negotiations between the Board of Selectmen and the developer, and represents what the Board of Selectmen deemed to be a fair deal for all involved. State law dictates that purchases of land using community preservation funds can only be made if the purchase price is less than the appraised value. This purchase meets that threshold. The land will be protected as open space in perpetuity, and the difference between the purchase price of $1,150,000 and the request of $1,200,000 will be used to defray the cost of the permanent conservation restriction. The land will be managed by the Conservation Commission subject to that conservation restriction. The existing house on the property will be removed from the site or demolished, consistent with the entire parcel being purchased for open space. Most likely, the existing trail connections will be maintained or upgraded. As per the direction of the Community Preservation Commission, the full acquisition price will be split, with half coming from the Open Space Set-Aside Fund and half coming from long-term borrowing. The Open Space Set-Aside is a depository of funds allocated from Community Preservation Act funding each year at town meeting. The Open Space Set-Aside now holds approximately $2.5 million. And it allows town meeting to act quickly to acquire property. Strategically, it makes sense to always hold a good balance in the fund, as it is unpredictable when land will be available for purchase, hence the decision to bond half the total cost. The long-term borrowing costs will be around $46,000 per year for 20 years, and those annual payments will come from Community Preservation Fund allocations each year. Community preservation funds are derived from the 1.5% surcharge on most property tax bills, and as this purchase will be paid for from funds already accumulated or from those that will be derived from the 1.5% surcharge in the future, this purchase will have no impact on your property tax bill. The final details and cost of borrowing are still to be determined, but this split between cash from the fund and long-term borrowing is very similar to the arrangement for purchase of the Wright Hill parcel that was approved by town meeting in April of 2014. This purchase has been unanimously supported by the Open Space Committee, the Community Preservation Committee, the Board of Selectmen, and the Finance Committee. I hope the town meeting will support this purchase as well, which adds a critical missing piece to the Great Hill Conservation and Recreation Area.